Hi, I'm Jonathan, the founder and CEO of Potency.world, and I'm here today with an extended conversation with a great connection of mine and her cousin, looking at dating apps, marriage apps, and everything around it. You've not met her before, so let me introduce you to Rimi. Rimi, say hi to the people.
So hi, I'm Rimi Fukun. I'm from Assam, Guwahati, India, and it's great to be in this podcast with Jonathan today. So I hope we'll be having a very meaningful discussion going ahead. Thank you,
Excellent.
Jonathan, for this opportunity.
Thank you, because I know that this is something which is quite painful for you. So what I'm going to do, let's kick off where we left with Anasuya, because we only got to the end of one story really, and it was talking about the dating app aisle. So Anasuya, do you remember
hi.
when you finished?
Okay. Hi, Jonathan. Yeah. Good morning. I think this, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Thank you for having me again. And along with my cousin, yeah, I think we'll have a great discussion and we'll have something will come up, and definitely we are going to help people. I mean, the woman who is going to listen to us, all these apps, whatever we are going to discuss on the dating apps and the matrimonial apps, which is creating some kind of things that is in the society, and definitely we are looking forward to help women to bring some lessons.
So my question, Anasuya, is this: we got just to the end of one story, and we're about to go into your second experience with another man from Mumbai. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Okay. That Mumbai person, the one which we discussed in the last episode, it was just like I was trying to build a real relationship, I mean, a serious relationship. The way he approached me when he met me the first time, but the things getting bitter, or you can say it's worse. The one I got involved more into serious discussions in the communication. So that's how the ghosting and the gaslighting things, like already I told you in the last episode, how he did during the conversations. He started ghosting me in between. Before, the way he communicated with me before, he started slowing down his communication, and then I was like I started feeling that time that I was the one only chasing him to and fro to communicate and to build a relationship. But because I understood that he was not at all serious that time, and that's how he started behaving after 6 months. I told you that in 3 months of time, all the communications was very good, and everything, we met each other and we are communicating good, and he was greeting me in every morning, like the way how a normal relationship starts growing. So but the span of 6 months time, he started behaving indifferently, and the things were changing. So that's how that's how the opinion, the way I started looking before, it started changing, and his behavior changed, and his movements, the way, the actions, whatever he through WhatsApp call, or maybe sometimes we do video call, and video call stops. And he also he was like, he started behaving like as if he's not interested to meet me anymore. Like he used to say that somewhere in some other country or for some work, and normally we used to have video calls during initial time, but later on it becomes different. And he started telling me, no, I don't think so, it requires. So this is how the communications getting penned down, like I don't think so, it requires that I should visit you or you should visit me in my city. So that's how the communications become very, you can say it is bad, or you can say it is not, nothing gets become, normal. So it's become very unusual for me, the way he started behaving. So that's how I already understand that his whole behavior is, and that's how I understood that he is no longer interested.
Now,
And,
I don't want to be in. So carry on.
So that in span of 6 months' time, then later on, when I started pushing him to come forward and tell me like what actually is going on in his mind, then he was getting uncomfortable, and he gets more uncomfortable, and he blocked me finally.
Right.
That's how. Yeah. So he blocked me.
May I ask? I don't want to be indelicate, but was there any intimacy between you?
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
It happened. He called me, and he came to my city. He called me to his where he was sitting. He was living in a part of his in the city where he was living in Mumbai. I went there, and he came to Delhi. So that's how. But after that also, and also he was talking to my, he used to talk about my family concerns and all. He was to tell Lydia, okay, what's your mother is looking for? I used to tell him, yes, my mom is looking for marriage, definitely. She is looking for her daughter to get married. So if a mature person is there in her life, then it is good. Everyone, every female, or whatever, every woman, they find they need a partner in their life. So everyone, your family is definitely, they will be happy when you get settled with someone else, and you find a good company in your life.
Yes, I think ultimately all people want the same things in life, really. And what is difficult to understand is how I think dating. So, speaking only for myself, I don't want to date. I want to find someone who I quite fancy and say, let's try and work this into a relationship. So my question to you is this: did his behavior change to you straight after intimacy? Because in the notes I've got from you, you talk about saying you might move and find work in Mumbai, and that was when he changed. What was the gap between those two things?
In 6 months' time, his behavior changed. When I went to meet him in the city where he lives, and I came back, then from next day onwards, his little changed.
Wow.
Maybe he has kept me as an option. He found someone. He started talking to someone. Yeah, that's how it can happen. So, because in dating, most man behavior is like that.
Yes.
They will keep you as an option.
So, do you know, I was watching a video on YouTube. Anyone watching this video, I'm going to cut some clips of that in, because the perception seems to be more or less a mirror. So there is a male loneliness epidemic, apparently. Have you heard of incels?
One of women's major complaints today is that men up to date don't act like men back in the day. They don't take their time out to court women anymore. They're not intentional about seeking out to be in a relationship with women. They're shying away from commitment. They don't really care to protect women. They don't care to provide for women. They don't care to tolerate women at all unless it's just sexual. And nobody can seem to figure it out. Well, I got the answer. Women have decided we no longer need to impress men, and the ones who do want to go out of their way for a man that they may be interested in or actually with, they are shamed and made to feel like that they are doing something wrong for seeing a man past the tangibles. Everything that men have asked for, women have shunned them and said that we're not doing those things for you. We're doing them to appease ourselves. Everything is in the antithesis of men, so much to the point where women have decided that they no longer have a need for man past his provisional aspects, such as him having money or such as him just having great sex. And somewhere along the lines, we've lied to ourselves and said men only objectify us and want sex for us. So in return, you want to play the man's game and try to do it back. But then when they start telling you that they want things like a woman who can think, or a woman who is actually going to be a partner, or a woman who can provide them a form of companionship, or a woman who brings them peace, or a woman who can read the room, a woman who can listen, a woman who knows how to cook, clean, nurture, and care for a house, a woman who's tentative, all of those things seem to be off your radar. We've taken cooking and cleaning and equated it to slavery, which I have no idea why we would be so disrespectful to our ancestors, because slavery was not just simply house chores. We've taken something so simple as, hey, maybe you're overreacting to, oh, he's gaslighting us, calling them narcissists, and disregarding all of their boundaries, even so much as the clothing. There is nothing there left to the imagination, because everything that he may aspire to get, so can every other man. See, it's so easy to see a woman post her ass and her titties on the timeline, or even walk outside with everything on but the armor of the Lord. And when he asks for a picture, all of a sudden you tense up like he just wants to objectify you, when actually you're just confused and you're not consistent with the message that you're sending. Women have found a way to say we don't need to impress men, men need to impress us. But when they tell you what they want, you call them bad bitches. You say that they want to be the new women. When they express their disdain or certain hatred, you call them sassy. Nothing is ever just introspectively saying, hey, maybe I don't act like my mama, maybe I don't act like my grandmama, maybe I don't act like my aunties, because you thought those women were weak in order to keep a man. You thought that they were a pick-me. But maybe it would be wise to take a page out of their book, because they had a far better success rate with getting men to do exactly what they needed them to do, simply honoring their word. We've lost the plot. Women no longer understand the power of the P, if you know what I mean. Some would say that men found their worth. That's why they have stopped doing things for women, because it's so easy to get out of you nowadays. So maybe when women start to be a little bit more impressive towards men again, and they start doing all the things that men desire in order to get a woman, we could have them like put it in our hands. Start being impressive. You wouldn't complain about what a man don't do for you.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, but have you heard of an incel? Involuntarily celibate. Do you know about that?
No, I'm trying to relate it right now.
So
I haven't heard.
No. Okay. So have you heard of Andrew Tate?
Yes.
Okay. So he is the very far extreme, but there's a whole movement of young men and older men basically being misogynistic and saying that the way to treat a woman is to keep her on the side, is to, not be too kind or too nice. And a phrase I heard in another video talks about men who are simps. So men who give women whatever they want. And they do that because they're afraid. So it seems that everybody needs and wants love, but most people are too afraid. And so what they've done is they've cut it down to just sex. But Rimi has a different perspective, because you went on, which app is it that you went on, Rimi?
Well, when it comes to dating apps, I have not used any of them, because I always believed in having a direct connection with people. So my perspective, I feel relations happen in real, not in the virtual world, the truest kind of relation. But having said that, I have seen the other side, the darker side of things, even when, things happened on a physical plane, not on dating apps.
Okay.
So I have been a witness to that, and being a woman, I perhaps also went through some bad experiences of, having to come to a forum like this and to speak up. So yeah, I'll be just putting forward the perspective that I believe most of the women of my age or women in my country will agree to. So basically what happens is social media is widely used across the globe, and my country is no exception. My state, my place is no exception. So, it's very difficult to meet people in person these days because most of the time we are busy with our work. Our workplaces keep us so occupied. It's very difficult to go out and meet people. So often we take help of social media, be it Facebook or Instagram, and we try to connect with each other. So that happens, and sometimes you become a little more than virtual connects in that case, and you tend to meet people on a physical level. You just call them for some coffee dates. You want to meet them and you get to know each other. So in that process, what happens is, guys from all walks of life, they just come over and they try to hit on the girls whom they find very fanciful and, a bit of happening in their terms. So that happens. And when it comes to relating, they are very good with words, love bombing, etc. Those things happen, and the girls often get mesmerized by those magical words. This has happened. This happens. This is human nature everywhere. Women tend to get swept away by such lovey-dovey behavior of men. My place is no exception. It's very common. Our emotions are all same, universal. So it happens, and many women go out and date those guys. So having set the context, now the context is set, and what happens next is, the women tend to get a little more serious than the guys. Maybe those guys never intended to get too serious to the woman. So those kind of meetings and hooking up, it is just temporary on the part of the men because they tend to find options everywhere. Finding options has become very easier these days because of the social media presence. Like my cousin has already stated, keeping her as an option, and still she was in the dark. She was not aware what was going on his mind, because he tend to be such a nice gentleman. So this happens in case of most women, and they come forward, and there is this trap, emotional trap, but lonesome women who are looking for a partner in life often tend to fall for. And from the workplace, they dream about a personal space where they can find someone to share their life, their pain, their sorrow, their pleasure, everything. Not just the bad side, also the good things. So they want a partner basically to share everything.
Yes.
And when this dream is nurtured by the woman, and she gives all the importance to this dream in her life, apart from her work, her career. So she tends to get a little more than serious, and she starts visualizing a life with this person, starts manifesting. And ultimately what happens, the person who comes to know about her inner feeling, her seriousness, it overwhelms them. The men get overwhelmed, and because his intention was not to get serious or to get into a serious committed relationship, the commitment phobia takes over him, and there comes the scene of ghosting, not readily, but step by step, playing a psychological dark game with the woman's mind. So that happens, and gradually the men tends to fade away in the background, and the woman keeps guessing what happened exactly. I'm clueless. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't say anything bad, or I didn't get into any kind of mess with him. I was so much giving, caring, I only wanted to nurture the relationship. And still I was in the dark, I mean, what happened exactly? I'm so clueless. And this makes the woman feel lost in this entire chaos. So she doesn't know which is her path, how to figure out that particular path she should be taking and getting over this mess.
Yes.
And she has no one to go to because people tend to laugh at such things, it's very normal. I mean, how can you get serious to some random guys over the social media? That is the general observation. And Indian society being a closed society, it's not open or that liberal like the West. So the judgment comes very quick. And the women are often judged. You have been too easy, too available, and now please pay the price. We are not here to rescue you. You are not a damsel in distress. Rather, you have brought it upon yourself. So you got to face the music. You got to face it yourself. And don't cry or feel distress now. So this is your own doing. You clear the mess. That is the general way of dealing with women in pain here in my society.
So
the man has all the privilege. He will enjoy his privileges like a king, and the woman also should be an equal partner to enjoying these privileges, get to stay in the background.
Yes.
Or rather, she is relegated to the background where she is not even allowed to speak up or, voice her opinions, because the moment she comes out on the social media with her side of story, there will be thousands of people trolling her. This is what happens in general, and not just with ordinary women, but also with celebrities.
Yeah. Well,
I think the common scenario. Men tend to take the woman for a ride because he thinks he's privileged enough to have 2-3 options ready. I mean, he can have his backup plans, but the woman is not supposed to do it, or she will be judged, or she will be put under a rigorous test of character. So that is it. That is what is ailing our society.
So it's very interesting to me that, so I don't know, but I understand that being a woman in India or Pakistan or Afghanistan or hundreds of places around the world, women are specifically, you don't have equal rights. More often than not, women, children are killed or they're forced to be married. And there's just, from what I see, there's a attitude against women. Now, I'm in the UK and I'm watching videos on YouTube, which obviously doesn't give you a true perspective. It gives you some perspective. But what's happening on dating apps in the UK and the US is almost the exact reverse of what you say. So in the US and the UK, women swiping. So they did an experiment and they did 100 swipes on Tinder or something like that. The man got 2 replies. The woman got 50. So in the UK, it's the women that have the men as backup plans. Because in the past, a man would try to get you, would try to, build a relationship. I think that, I don't know, but I think that both men and women enjoy and want intimacy and sexual relations. But what seems to have happened is that the seesaw, the balance of power, Depending on where you are in the world, it's either really against you or really for you. But in both situations, one side is left thinking, what have I done? How is it he or she isn't contacting me? I follow them on Instagram and they're putting pictures up, or they're not talking about they're in a relationship. So I was talking to Anasuya before you came on. There's a TED talk called The Paradox of Choice.
So everywhere we look, big things and small things, material things and lifestyle things, life is a matter of choice. And the world we used to live in looked like this. That is to say, there were some choices, but not everything was a matter of choice. And the world we now live in looks like this. And the question is this good news or bad news? And the answer is yes. We all know what's good about it, so I'm going to talk about what's bad about it. All of this choice has two effects, two negative effects on people. One effect, paradoxically, is that it produces paralysis rather than liberation. With so many options to choose from, people find it very difficult to choose at all. I'll give you one very dramatic example of this, a study that was done of investments in voluntary retirement plans. A colleague of mine got access to investment records from Vanguard, the gigantic mutual fund company of about 1 million employees in about 2,000 different workplaces. And what she found is that for every 10 mutual funds the employer offered, rate of participation went down 2%. You offer 50 funds, 10% fewer employees participate than if you only offer 5. Why? Because with 50 funds to choose from, it's so damn hard to decide which fund to choose that you'll just put it off till tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and of course tomorrow never comes. Understand that not only does this mean that people are going to have to eat dog food when they retire because they don't have enough money put away, it also means that making the decision is so hard that they pass up significant matching money from the employer. By not participating, they are passing up as much as $5,000 a year from the employer, who would happily match their contribution. So paralysis is a consequence of having too many choices, and I think it makes the world look like this. You really want to get the decision right if it's for all eternity, right? You don't want to pick the wrong mutual fund or even the wrong salad dressing. So that's one effect. The second effect is that even if we manage to overcome the paralysis and make a choice, we end up less satisfied with the result of the choice than we would be if we had fewer options to choose from. And there are several reasons for this. One of them is that with a lot of different salad dressings to choose from, if you buy one and it's not perfect, and you know what salad dressing is, it's easy to imagine that you could have made a different choice that would have been better. And what happens is this imagined alternative induces you to regret the decision you made, and this regret subtracts from the satisfaction you get out of the decision you made, even if it was a good decision. The more options there are, the easier it is to regret anything at all that is disappointing about the option that you chose. Second, what economists call opportunity costs. Dan Gilbert made a big point this morning of talking about how much the way in which we value things depends on what we compare them to. Well, when there are lots of alternatives to consider, it is easy to imagine the attractive features of alternatives that you reject that make you less satisfied with the alternative that you've chosen. Here's an example. For those of you who aren't New Yorkers, I apologize. But here's what you're supposed to be thinking. Here's this couple on the Hamptons. Very expensive real estate, gorgeous beach, beautiful day. They have it all to themselves. What could be better? Well, damn it, this guy is thinking, it's August. Everybody in my Manhattan neighborhood is away. I could be parking right in front of my building. And he spends 2 weeks nagged by the idea that he is missing the opportunity day after day to have a great parking space. Opportunity costs subtract from the satisfaction we get out of what we choose, even when what we choose is terrific. And the more options there are to consider, the more attractive features of these options are going to be reflected by us as opportunity costs.
And I'd like to get your view. We live in a world now, like you say, with social media, where all day, every day, you're on your phone, and so you see these idealized images of relationships and happiness and that sort of thing. What is your view? How many people out of 10 of your friends are married at the moment? Rimi?
Well, that is an interesting question, Jonathan, because
Okay.
what I would like to talk here is this very interesting topic of marriage. Yes,
Okay.
marriage in my society. So I have no qualms to admit it is a degenerating institution, social institution currently in my society, in my country, in my place, because there is a severe lack of balance in the gender proposition.
Right.
So I have been working in the development sector. I have worked with women. I have worked with children. I have worked with communities. So I go to the grassroots, and I have seen the socio-political changes affecting human lives across all types of communities in the society. Not just the elites, but also the middle class and the lower middle class, and also the people living below the poverty line in India. So the impact is quite widespread. So people in the middle class are busy imitating a life that they want to live always, but it is not easy to come by because they're aspirational, but the country as a whole is not very supportive of the middle class dream. I have no qualms in admitting this because there has been a lot of sea change in the political and social, mores in the country. So not everything is same and hunky-dory like it used to be in the 80s and 90s, I must say. The last 2 decades I just mentioned were the golden period of evolution in Indian society as well, just like in the West. We saw the best of relationships happening. We saw the best in creativity in every field. There was innovation. There was some kind of a revolution happening, and people were so progressive at that time. But now, gradually, because of some different political ideology, which is being imposed on everyone, people are more fixed in their way of thinking or taking life, and have become more judgmental. Probably this is one major reason why there is a lot of judgment in the society now, because of this close-mindedness.
Right.
And not keeping a broad perspective on things, quote unquote. And this is affecting everyone in the society, including me. And to come back to marriages, most of the marriages are just on papers, to be very honest.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you will be seeing very happy pictures everywhere on social media. But in reality, you can say there is a severe lack of love in these marriages. Most of these marriages are loveless.
Yeah.
And they are together all because the judgment comes in. The society, brackets them, compartmentalizes them, and put them in categories where they don't want to be. And perhaps this is the reason why people don't like to go for a divorce. And of course, the law everywhere, the law favors the women, but the stigma again is something the women have to bear. I mean, it is the women who always bear the brunt of such, what you call,
I don't know quite what
the
it is.
falling out part, falling out in relationship, falling out in the understanding between what goes on, the man and the woman, and that part is never discussed or remedied by the society.
I want to say this for my fellow daughters of Christ. Listen here. If you have prayed a prayer for your husband to find you, do not be surprised when men do not speak to you. Do not be surprised when they don't compliment you. Don't be surprised when they don't talk to you. Because if your heart is set for the man that God has for you, there's a very high chance that his heart is set for yours. So therefore, y'all are praying prayers for each other. And so y'all don't have time for all the extra mess. You don't have time for the men that's trying to spit game. You don't have time for the men that's only wanting you for one thing. God has set you aside. You don't have time for all the extra. So don't be sad when you don't get compliments. Don't be sad when they don't say nothing to you. Your time don't have to be wasted, baby. God is preparing you for your husband. And he does not need you entertaining nobody else that is not purpose-filled and assigned to you.
There's a video I was watching, and I can't remember the exact facts, but it's more or less. So more or less 6 out of 10 young people between 18 and 30 have never had sex. 75 to 80% of marriages are sexless. Now, sex is not the actual, the mechanics of sex. It's intimacy. It's holding hands. It's having someone hold your face and listen to you. It's someone putting their hand on your knee as you're watching TV. This is my opinion, it's someone who you're doing the washing, they see that, and they come over and they dry. It's all about a team. But I believe that because until my mother died, my mum and dad were a team. They didn't always agree. In fact, I would say they rarely agreed. But what they did was they found a middle point, and once they found that, they worked towards it together as a team. So my mother died back in 2003, and my dad started seeing, so his next door neighbour, we'd lived next door for 55 years, the husband in that house died as well. So my dad's alone, this woman Ruth is alone, they're helping each other through their grief, and they finally became a couple. Now, my dad's 90, his girlfriend's 85. So their cultural identity was formed when Britain was more or less Christian, so there are some blacks and what have you, but nowhere near as multicultural as now. And so in that relationship, the female partner treats my dad like she deserves someone to jump up for her. So she'll go, "Oh, can I have a cup of tea?" And my dad's 90. And he's like, "Oh, straight away." I'm like, "Oh, it's all right, Dad. I'll make the tea." So my question to you is, what is it that you want? And Anasuya, if I can have your opinion on this first. Not marriage, but what kind of character attributes do you look for, Anasuya?
So you're saying that if it is not marriage also, if you develop some relationship in between a woman and man, we're talking about right?
Yeah.
See, marriage is like marriage is like, you're binding two families together. That is why the marriage institution is two families. But if you talk about a matured man and a woman, okay, and if they are already married or they got divorced or they were in a stage of something in the Middle East, so it is not necessary that marriage has to be there, but if you are really comfortable that you are looking for marriage, which you are bringing the person to your family, and you are showing him that we are going to bind, we are going. That is why you are tying the knot. That's why tying the knot in front of the society. That's how the marriage. But if you are really looking for some kind of relationship, that finding a good company, and you can leave the company in the sense that you can both of you comfort each other, and you are very you understand each other very nicely, and you share your life together. It is not everything about sex, right? It is about intimacy, like intimacy of everything, like looking after, care for each other. You help each other when you need each other, and at the same time, suppose if it is like it should not be abusive. Sometimes what happens nowadays in this generation, if you talk about like Gen Zs or whatever the general, but this younger generation, they are like they are looking for they are not looking for marriage. They are looking for like a relationship where you can find each other comfortable. You can see each other whether we both are well fitted or not to live together for the future. That's how the Gen Zs think. So they started living together. So live-in relationship thing. I believe that live-in relationship is also not a bad thing. If you start living with each other, you can understand each other more. You can understand each other's flaws, like what is good, what is bad. So it then gradually, by the time you see, you can find each other that we can be for the whole life, or we can, because our human nature is so, as at time changes us, right? Our priority changes in our life, and also the things like what we are looking for in the relationship, that also changes at time. But you should be in a mutual respect. Like if you decide, in a very amicably, in a way that where your both of your opinion matches both of your opinion, you decided, this is how we can we will, if you want to build up the relationship for the future, for the whole life, then it's okay. But if you are thinking that no, after living with each other, if you find that no, I think our priority changed and we have a different mindset, because you started understanding each other once you started living together under the same roof. So that's how your behavior, habit, your daily, like what you do, what you like, your likes and everything, like the what you work, your environment, working environment also affect a lot. Workplace, and what is your profession, your like that is also matters a lot. If you look into it, so everything should be in a common. But what is the common binding? Is it love? Love is the only common binding, right? If you have love for each other, whether it is like in any sort of things are coming on the way, but if you really respect each other, if you love, then you can. That is the only binding thing in your life that you can stay forever. And also, if you talk about a marriage is mostly because you're building a family, means you are doing a family planning. If you want to bring a child in your life, those are things. Because in our society in India, if you talk about a single mother concept is not there. You can't raise a child alone. Yes, because government is not going. You can't. Government is not going to help you. So that's how the marriage is necessary. Marriage become
Protection.
it's a protection for a woman, for the human rights, like for as a woman. So, but in I think other countries like the western part of West, so that's different. You have the government will cover up the whole thing. You have the facility of raising the child, and you can grown up the child can be alone. But in India there's nothing. Still, it's not yet started, or it's not yet that thing is not yet there. So it is very insecure. That person. So that's how marriage is for me. I know, but now the generation is changing. They is thinking that unless you are not comfortable with each other at our own, at our own space, and marriage is not necessary. Marriage is necessary when you really got matured and you know that this is how we want, both of us we want in our life. That's how they take the leap, take the leap of faith that let's go and tie a knot, or go into marriage, and then later on the family planning, that all those starts. But in earlier days in India, once the girls attain 15-16 years, that's a child marriage. They will in society and the people, the families, because it's a combined family system. Now it's coming up, the nuclear family system. The combined, it's a joint family. That time, when a girl attains 15-16 years, she is eligible for the marriage. So they will give you, and the child will, they will give birth to child very early, like at the age of 18, and then you can see that. Then there is no, their life is finished. That is how they believe. Once you got married and you don't have anything, you have to just raise your child, your kid. That's what a woman does with kitchen and all this homely household chores. Like husband will be like the external part of the family. He's the head of the family. Like he's going to finance you, like he's to provide. But now the scenario has changed because of the modern living, of how the things have started evolving. So females started realizing their own identity. They need something in their life. So once the education starts, and they started realizing we should have our own life. You should have your own personal space. It should be have a teamwork. That's how you say it, right? Teamwork is not there before, but now the family system, mostly the women, they're raising a voice in our society that we are looking for a teamwork, that you have to help in hand, in a cooking or in cleaning, everything. Like suppose you don't, because here in India still we have the maids. You can hire some maids, in a very lower price. They will come help you in cleaning and vessels, cleaning your house, all this. But I think in Western, it's very costly, right? If you hire, so it's difficult. So they become independent. So if you see nowadays, Indian people, Indian man and woman, Indian men, mostly whoever goes to the abroad, who lives there for almost 10-15 years, they started realizing that educated society, whoever is now in the corporate, they're working in that environment. They realize that they have to build their own life and they don't have any help. Their wife and they are single, right? They single-handedly handle the whole household chores. So, but if they will come back to India, their mindset changed automatically. They started behaving like I'm the king in the house. So because you're not there, so they forget. So that's how the manipulation, that hypocrisy is there still in the society. So that's how marriages are still very, you can say, unreliable, because there is no any, there is no any responsibility of a man. Like they don't feel that, because everything is hand they are getting very comfortable, right? You are getting maid, you are getting your family is behind. They will help you in, the society is still like that. Like you are not independent. The way, in abroad, in Western countries, how you are from a childhood at the age of 15 years, you started building your life. You are not depending on your parents, you are not depending on family. But in India, still that system is there. Family, family will hold you from every way. Like if you fall down, that's a good thing. But that is also a bad, if you talk about, because you become very dependent. And you can see there are some men who are, why they are not ready to commit to a girl, right? Because responsibility will come, right? Because he has to provide that woman. So those are this kind of men. Hello. Yeah, I'm not. You are not. I'm not able to see you.
Rimi or me?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay. So this is how. If you talk about our society, in India, still it is prevalent here, and it is very comfortable for men. So that's how. If it is dating app also, if it is a matrimonial also, because they always, the family is the only their backbone. Because of the family, they are not ready to come forward and to give commitment to a girl or to a woman if they are looking for marriage or if they are looking for a relationship. I think these are kind of the loopholes. Because of that, the society, how they are bringing up the child, how they are bringing up the mindset. They're developing the mindset. That's why it is more affecting. And that hypocrisy and manipulative, manipulative. The thought process is there.
So we spoke on the last call, but Rimi, you weren't here for that one. I'm 54 now. I don't think I've ever been in love. I've been in lust.
Okay, y'all, I'm so serious right now. How are y'all dating in this day and age? Like, I'm not ready to put myself back out there, but if I were, I've done the dating apps. Like, I did Bumble a couple times, and I met great people that I'm actually still friends with to this day. But I just feel like the dating apps are more of like a hookup situation for most people. I know that there's like 1 in a million, my sister being one of them, who met her dude. He was the only guy that she swiped on, and they went on a first date. It went great. They just kept going on dates, and now they're married and have a baby. Like, I know that there are success stories from dating apps, but I feel like the majority of people that are on it aren't really serious about finding a life partner. So I'm just curious, where are you finding your people to date? Because I really just know that Facebook Messenger is not it. Please do not message me on there ever, ever. Like, if I didn't share my daily devotionals on Facebook, I would have deleted the app by now, for real. I joined a gym last summer, and was just kind of looking around while I was working out. Most of the dudes had rings on, which is cool. But like, I'm serious, where are you guys meeting people to date? Because I don't really get out of the house that much. I don't drink anymore, so I don't really go to the bars. It is Friday night, and I just went to the grocery store. So, anyway. Sometimes Kroger does have some cute guys, but again, most of them are married. So, anyway, where are y'all finding your godly men? Let a sister know. I love y'all.
The church is keeping Christian women single, and this is why there are so many Christian single women at the church, literally single for years, not getting married, not getting any type of dates, not getting any type of attention. While they are serving at church, they're doing all the right things on paper. They might be in great physical shape. They might have their healing journey all, through and through. They're doing the inner work. They're doing all that. They are focused. They are focused on Christ. They've been focused on Christ for years. They have been doing the things that people have been telling them to do for years, yet they're still single, have no candidates, have nobody looking in their direction. Let me tell you something. The church does not teach Christian women how to date. The church does not teach Christian women to date at all. What they tell us to do is to sit with our hands in our laps and to wait for a man to come at our door. That is not biblically wise. Faith without works is dead, and that applies to every area of our life. If you have a job and you lose that job, are you just going to sit and pray for God to send you a new job and then just stay at home and not apply for a single job? No. If you lose your job, you're going to pray, Lord, please bless me with another job. Of course, there's the faith. But then after that, you're going to go searching for a job. You're going to be applying for jobs, and you're going to pray that God will bless you with the right job. If all you're doing is sitting at home doing 1,000 prayers for your future spouse, you are fasting, you are praying, you're doing all these other things, but you're not actually putting any practical works into dating, more times than not, you are not going to find your spouse.
So my husband told me that he's just really on a search for peace right now. And, he just feels like being away from me and the family is what's helping him to stay at peace. And he just cannot be around me. Now, if this is something that your spouse has said, I need you to understand, number one, that what they are feeling, what they are seeking is a counterfeit peace. And number two, they are not trying to find peace. They are actually running from shame. Because of course you feel at peace when you're running from the very thing that's going to hold you accountable. When you feel shame and guilt, it's very heavy, and you don't want to be around the very thing that makes you feel those things. And this is not to justify what they're doing, because it's not okay. But I need you to understand that if we know God is the God of peace, and we know that it's only through God that we obtain everlasting peace, if we know the Bible says that the wicked does not have any peace, and I'm not saying that your spouse is wicked, if we know those things to be true, how is it that you can come into agreement with the idea that your spouse being away from you, being away from the covenant that God has given him, is actually giving them peace? You have to ask yourself, what holds more weight, the word of God or the word of my husband, who has fallen short, who is separate from Christ, who is walking in his flesh and not being led by the Spirit? There is nobody on earth, there is no man or woman on earth that is more powerful than God, whose words hold more power and weight than God. Once you have the understanding that it is God who approves you and not your spouse, you will be able to see straight through what your spouse is saying. You will be able to put down your carnal understanding and your carnal mind and pick up things in the Spirit. You'll be able to see the truth of what's going on, which is seeing things through the perspective of God. So if you are struggling with pulling your identity out of your spouse, where everything they do, everything they say defines who you are, and you allow it to define who you are, DM me the word ready, and I'll send you a link to hop on a one-on-one call with me so I can give you practical ways on how to strengthen your identity in Christ.
Why are there no cute guys in the church? Is he cute? Maybe I can convince myself he's cute. Ugh, of course. All the good ones got taken up. I came too late. Is it just that men of God aren't cute? Ladies, these are things that I have found myself thinking. Can you relate? And I gotta say, once these thoughts started to, I guess you can say, ruminate in my mind while I was at church, maybe in Bible study, one, I recognized this is not the heart posture I want to have. Once I recognized that this mentality, one, wasn't glorifying to God, but also it just wasn't serving me because it is putting me in a lack mindset, I actually invited the Holy Spirit and to show me, God, help me think positively here in the situation. So when I asked the Holy Spirit, this is what he downloaded into me. God put my thoughts on trial, and he made me recognize, look at these room full of God-fearing men. You know some of them are attractive. I do think some of them are attractive. Some of them happen to be married, so of course I would never look at them that way. But again, God was challenging my thoughts and saying, this is a testimony of what you are saying and thinking. It is not true and it is not of me. He told me, instead of complaining about why there are a lack of people that you think are attractive, take this up. Lord, I thank you for not allowing me to have eyes for someone whom you have not ordained or prepared for me. Thank you, Jesus. That was such a conviction, but such a revelation. And if I can share it with you guys to maybe encourage you, if you're feeling the same way, men or women, I really hope that you invite the Holy Spirit into your mind, into your heart posture, and just ask him to purify your thoughts, especially if you are a little bit newer like I am and coming from, worldly mindsets. Again, I'm just here to encourage.
But I totally agree that marriage is the women's new hustle. I saw a post with a female that said, ladies, you're doing it all wrong. She had 6 kids. She was 25 years old, around in their inner 20s, mid to late 20s. 6 kids, 6 different baby daddies, and she said each one of them comes with a paycheck, and I wake up every morning and my bills are paid. I'm like, so that's what we're doing in these streets now? Like, we're like, y'all are a bunch of trash pandas. And I know that not all women are like this, and the women that aren't, this video is not going to bother them because they know they don't fit into that category. But the women that do fit into the category, I think y'all need help. And I don't think there's any helping you, because it's like, that's just your way of life.
It's okay if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know the right path, or you don't know if the decision you're making is right. I really believe you should be seeking God in every single decision. And even if you're not sure, that's okay, because if something isn't for you, no matter how much you try to make it work, God will literally put the biggest roadblock in front of you. So don't be so scared if you're like taking a risk with something or someone, because at the end of the day, if something isn't for you, He will show you. But then again, it's your choice if you take it. And if you need God to show you, just ask Him to slap it in your face, because sometimes we are a bit oblivious. And but I really believe if it's yours, it will come, and nothing can stop it. No matter how fast you try to run, it's gonna be there. He's gonna be like, hello, your thing that you're trying to run away from is right there, babe.
So when I was younger and sexier, you meet someone, you both like each other, I think there is less pressure to be a family unit, especially on men. But either of you, what changes within you that makes you feel that you're in love? Rimi.
Well, yes. So I would totally agree with what Anusuya just revealed about our society. Coming from a patriarchal society, a typical patriarchal Asian society. So things are not that easy for any woman who wants to live life on her own terms. It's much easier for a man, but things are changing gradually. Recent trends have showed many women are making choices, and it is becoming possible because women are getting independent financially. So gone are those days. There was a time when our parents, our mothers had to completely abide by the social norms, whatever our dad said, or the society as a whole level upon the woman. The woman has to keep going or following those norms. But now times have changed. Women are more forthcoming. Women are vocal about their rights, are more in a position to take charge. So when a man has his options, women are also not lagging behind. So the choice may not to have too many options, of having male companions, but women are ready to step out of the marriage domain. Marriage is not an end for her. There are many women of my age. I'm 49. I'll be soon 50. For me,
really?
At this stage,
wow. You both look a lot younger than you are.
Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment for me. So, So for a woman like me, I think I can make my own choices. I have built myself up in a way, raising my voice, establishing myself as a personality more than anything else. At first, we are human being, we don't have to abide by patriarchy all the time.
No.
We have to break the shackles. We have to show some guts to come out and say, we can have a life of our own choice. We can make choices. Not necessarily we keep 2-3 men as options, but we can have a companion who can fulfill our dreams, who can be our equal. We feel equal to them. So I have seen this change in the generation. I come from Generation X. I have seen, I've got many millennial friends, male friends, and I have seen how these men are reacting to the stimuli that they have come across. They have already seen their parental generation. They have seen the degeneration, and they are being more thoughtful than the Gen Zs. Gen Zs are more, they're upbeat, they're young, they have all the energy, world is at their feet. So they think they can change the world overnight, but which is not possible. You need some bit of maturity. And I think the millennials have that maturity in them. They are coming from a place where they have seen the best and worst of things. So our generation, they have already witnessed the degenerations, the decadence, the crumbling of the marriage as a structure, and then now they are more thoughtful, conscious, and they're trying to, build up a kind of society that is more accommodative, more understanding, empathetic. But not all, but yeah, a major, cultural evolution is happening, even in India. It can be subtle. You may be hearing about a lot of political upheavals. These are headed mostly by the millennials and the Gen Zs, not the Generation X people, not our generation people.
Can you just move your camera so I can see your eyes? I can't see your eyes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Lovely. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant.
Right.
So here's the thing. I don't agree with this perspective, but there are women content producers on YouTube who speak about how modern feminism has done this and done that. And both you and Anasuya are both industrious, hard-working individuals. Do you think that men are threatened by you?
I feel that many a times. I intimidate some men. Yes, I do. Because I am vocal. I have this way of making my points clear. I have a stand in life. So I guess so. Many men are intimidated by the kind of woman I am. The way I spell out things and make it very clear, obvious to men that I can have my way too. So at times, I feel I threaten them. Yes. At the end of the day, in a patriarchal society, not the Western society I'm talking about the Asian society.
Yeah.
When a woman goes out of the patriarchy boundaries and does things on her own terms, it becomes somewhat intimidating. It becomes somewhat frightening for the men because they do not expect women to come on so heavily on them, or a woman who equally exercises her rights, not giving into feminism, not giving into any isms.
Yeah.
So got nothing to do with the feministic views, because that again it's somewhat manufactured, I feel.
I think so.
Yes, it's been manufactured. It's more or less a ploy on part of some women to destroy the social fabric at times. I strongly feel that, because men and women are like the opposing forces, the yin and yang of the society as per the Asian perspective. So women are the nurturers, men are the providers, and nothing changed this. But having said that, at times you need to reverse your roles and you need to look at each other very empathetically. You cannot necessarily undermine a man who is sympathetic, who is full of compassion, kindness, gentle. You cannot label him as weak or effeminate. And similarly, you cannot brand a woman who tends to show her muscular abilities. At times we need to. At times we have to wear the pants in the house. And that's perfectly all right. Nothing to do with feminism.
No.
I'll be very vocal and strong about my views here. That's, again, a harmonious balance. It's a harmonious way of coexisting with one another. I have written many pieces on the man-women dynamics in our society. Not many will think great ones, but that does stop my,
So
from talking about things which I hold very dear to my heart. And also I hold that this has a huge middle ground, a big middle ground for people to walk in and, find balance and harmony in relationships and in life. Because exploitation happens from both the ends.
Yes,
It's
I
not
would
always
agree with
men. Sometimes it is women also, even in my society. Because there are
Really?
some murders that happened recently, and women were the ones who plotted these murders. The masterminds were
Really?
the women, not the men. Yeah,
Wow.
it's been doing the rounds in the news and on social media as a whole. So
So I don't know if
this
this
is
is
again a fallout of the imbalance. The imbalance that
indeed.
is.
So I think I heard this story correctly. I think that India very recently chose not to have rape in marriage as a criminal offence, basically saying that husbands are allowed to have sex with their wives even if their wives don't want to. Is that true, first of all?
It is. It is true.
It is true.
Many a times it is true.
So that really makes...
Marital rapes are never registered as cases. This often go unnoticed. People tend to normalize this. This is marriage, so you have to put up with all the demands your husband puts on you. This is not even a demand. This is your duty. It's your role as a woman to satisfy your man. Yeah. Whether it's a matter of consent or not.
So, Anasuya, have you been in love?
Yes.
Yeah? How
Yeah, of
does
course.
it feel?
If you're in love, you feel like to do everything for the person. It's not like, some kind of selfishness. It's kind of like possessiveness or something. When it's love,
Okay.
then you just become unconditional, like how the things, whatever. But you're ready to, present yourself. Like, you are always there. You feel like, however the situation may be in between. But you feel like, you should be there for the person.
Yeah.
When it reciprocates, like from both sides, then it becomes more beautiful, So, I had experienced that, but in some point, but maybe I was very unfortunate, I can say.
No, you are not. You are not unfortunate.
Because at certain point, the misunderstanding started. And when the misunderstanding started, and maybe the communication was the most lowest level of communications made. Because of that, maybe the gap started. Because of the communication. Yeah. And that small thing, because of that communication gap, and because you are not giving the way you try to express, maybe it never reaches the other side, the other person. Okay. Rightly. Because of that, maybe the things getting worse, or maybe this is how it breaks up. So it is that's how in my life I felt like this is maybe some of the things that happen. Maybe God has decided something, because I told you that I'm very quite spiritual, and I'm still waiting for the person who will come into my life, will bring for me that which I'm looking for, like a very humble and a compassionate person. The compassion is not there. Whenever there is no compassion, whenever there is no any respect, the relationship cannot be built. That's how I can say.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly. Sorry.
Love. Love for each other.
because love isn't easy. Relationships aren't easy. What do you think? So, I'm 5 years older than both of you, but when I was a child, you used to be able to repair things like a radio or service your car or whatever it was. And so for maybe the last 20, 25 years, when did the iPhone come out? 2007. So as soon as people had an electronic device in their hand that gave them everything, it appears that people dropped their standards down to the lowest possible level, which I think might be, so I have what's called imposter syndrome. So in my profession, a giant leap from that is an idea that literally is against every institution, every cultural norm, everything in education. Everyone's over here, I'm over here. So the idea of something very difficult doesn't put me off even slightly. However, and I talk to women all the time because I'm a chatterbox, I'll talk to a woman and think, wow, she's pretty. And then I look at myself. So, Rimi, you don't know, I had a motorcycle accident like 30 years ago. So this upper side is paralyzed. I had a bunch of strokes. So my right leg is mostly paralyzed. I'm obviously going bald. I look at myself and I look at other men of my age and I go, why would you pick me? And then more than that, I go, if you would pick me, then there must be something wrong with you because you're beautiful, so you could have any man other than me. And that's where my imposter syndrome kicks in. I go, yeah, I like you, but you're not going to like me. And like I said at the beginning, not being picked up as a baby left me with this internal sense that if someone comes, they'll always go. So I have no continuity.
So as a single woman of God, there's something that I've noticed, but I don't know if I'm making this up or if other women are experiencing this too, so please do let me know. Basically, I consider myself to be quite a friendly and bubbly person. No matter who I'm talking to, that's just who I am, okay? No matter if I'm talking to men or women, I just like to be friendly and joyful because that's just Deborah, you know? But I feel like, especially in church, some guys take my friendliness as me liking them, and because of that, they're just acting weird with me. I feel like, and again, I could be making this up, I don't know, but I feel like some guys are just being very distant and cold with me because they think that I like them, when it's just like, brother, hold up, like, you're my brother in Christ, I'm your sister, so like, how am I supposed to treat you then? I'm not someone to be mean and cold. I love meeting new people and interacting with people, but so what am I supposed to do then? If my friendliness is taken for, I like you, so now you feel like I'm some type of danger, like a single woman that's a danger, stay away from her. And I'm not saying this is every guy in church because that's not the case, but for some of them, I'm just like, why are you being so cold to me and so friendly to everybody else? I feel like you see me as a danger, when it's like, don't worry, I don't like you like that. You don't have to worry about me. But is that just me who feels that way, that as a single woman, sometimes you're just kind of seen as like this, ooh, we have to stay away from her. And just to clarify, I'm not a flirty person. I've never been a flirty person, okay? I don't have any game in that area, absolutely not. So again, I'm just being friendly. But please let me know if any other single women can relate to this and what this is about. Maybe I'm making it up, but let me know.
I don't know about y'all, but I need my man. And I think that's why y'all don't believe in marriage, or y'all don't want marriage anymore, because y'all don't need, y'all haven't met a man that you need. I need mine. Yeah, it's not just a want. I don't just lust him, desire him, and want him. I need him. I absolutely know that he is assigned to me. He is my purpose partner. And when you have that understanding, you just don't talk to that type of man any type of way. That's why you need to make sure when you get married that you're actually aligned. This ain't just about a good time and throwing me around the bedroom and paying some bills, baby. Are you assigned to the kingdom purpose that's on my life? Yeah, when you meet that man, you talk a little different.
Back in 2008, 2009, I met a woman at a party in the block of flats I'm at. And she had a PhD, a doctorate in biochemistry, I think. And I'd gone to this party. So do you know the cartoon Tweety Pie? It's like a bird. I thought I saw a putty tat. Do you know that? It's a cartoon. Basically, it's a children's cartoon. So I'm wearing this big red T-shirt with like a yellow bird on the front, and it says Tweety. And then I'm wearing camouflage trousers. So camouflage with red. Everything about what I was wearing wasn't even nearly flattering. I didn't care because I didn't think anyone would be interested in me. So I start talking to this woman and we have a good laugh and she's really intelligent. And I was going away. I had the last bit of money and I was going away to America for a month, came back for 2 days, and I went to Australia for another month. This woman flew for 3 days to get to Australia to spend 4 days with me. And I had never had a woman show that interest in me. So naturally, given my model, my parents, I went, oh, I should marry you. So I said, I really want to marry you, but she is 10 years older than me. So I went, okay, I know the cultural norms for black women are different from me. So I was adopted by a white family. So I don't have the Christianity, the faith in the way that you ladies do. I have a faith in a higher presence, but not necessarily what you would call God. But this lady and I said to her when she was in Australia, I said, I want to marry you, but we'll wait. Then we went out to visit her dad and I helped her dad out with various things. And then while we were out doing things, I said, I'd like to ask your daughter's hand in marriage. He went, that's brilliant. I'm really happy for you. We went out for a meal. I trained him how to use my camera so it would take a movie clip. I went down on one knee, opened the box, did the whole proposal thing. And yeah, we were going to get married. She's very busy with her work. So I said, I don't care. I'll be a house husband. I'll manage your diary. I'll cook the food. I'll do the cleaning. I'll do anything you need because you're successful in your profession on your own. If you've got someone that has your back, you become even stronger. But the problem was that her experience was that her mother left when she was 7. So, and her father didn't remarry until she was 22 and in university. So all of that period of life, which is so crucial for women, periods, bras, all the things, and things I can't even imagine, she didn't have a female role model. So I started trying to make things happen. I said, okay, she was renting. I said, okay, I own my flat. What we can do is, if I put my flat in as equity, we can get a mortgage and buy a house outside of London, a cheaper place. So we were looking at places, found a lovely house, did all this, and she went away for a business conference. And while she was away, I went, God, things aren't happening fast enough. So I packed the entire contents of my flat, put it in storage, and put it on the market as chain free, empty, because I figured that will make it happen faster. And when she came back from her conference, I told her what I was doing. Now, I hadn't spoken to her beforehand, and I hadn't told her what I was doing while I was doing it. She came home and found that I had done it. And that really upset her. And I understand why, because she didn't have agency in that decision. But as hard as I pushed to try and make the life that I thought would make her happy, the more aggressive she became. And she was always speaking horribly about other people, but had never spoken to me that way. And then one day she came home from work with a piece of news, and she wanted to be horrible about these two other people in work. And I listened to her story and I went, wow, that's a real opportunity. So I said to her, oh, this is an opportunity. And she sat down opposite me and went, oh, well, Jonathan, last week you're telling me this week you're telling me that. What's it going to be? And I went mad. Really angry, because I'd been trying so hard to make a life for us, and she was completely just contemptuous. So she got up and tried to walk out, and I'm not proud of this. I got up, I slammed the door in front of her. I said, don't walk away from me. And I said, you fucking ungrateful bitch. Went to sleep on the couch. 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, she wakes me up. She goes, we need to have a conversation. I went, okay, fair enough. Walked into her kitchen. There's a bag with all my stuff. I bought her an electric toothbrush. That was in the bin. The ring I gave her was in this bag. And I see the stuff on the side, and she sat down, crossed her arms and said, well, Jonathan, what have you got to say? I looked at the stuff and I went, nothing. And that was it. Gone. So I was not emotionally moved by that experience. I went, this is not going to work. Let's call it quits. By 10 o'clock that morning, I'd already cancelled efforts I'd made to book a hotel for our wedding, cancelled the flights. I lost probably £3,000 in flights and stuff like that. Hey, listen, wasn't her choice. That's the point. It wasn't her choice to rush into marriage. It wasn't her choice for any of the things I did. And when I wrote my book, I bullet pointed all the things that I had, in inverted commas, forced her to do. So she hadn't been to a doctor for 10 years. So, having a smear test. She didn't eat breakfast. She didn't have, for example, so when you're going through your period, you lose a lot of blood, obviously. That means you lose a lot of iron, so you can feel lethargic because you're not getting enough oxygen. So I would give her a vitamin D supplement the week before she came on, and say that so I was trying everything I could do to be a team player, and it didn't work. So, what is your view on that, Rimi?
If you're asking me, all I would say is I'm truly sorry for all that you have been through in this relationship. And we also have to hear the other side of the perspective. And coming from a male point of view, I know there are many men who have equally suffered like women, and are still not able to speak up because probably they don't find the right people to share this stuff with, or probably the platform is missing. And thankfully, you have one platform. You can talk these things without any inhibition, and you have companions today, two like-minded women who are ready to share and hear everything that has transpired between us. So I'm very empathetic, and I'm very sorry that this has happened with you. So it is not always from a woman's perspective that things are so bad. Even a man has to undergo a lot of misery and bad times in a relationship. Lack of understanding, lack of empathy, the basic humanity. Humanity misses out many a times. Forget about empathy, forget about compassion. The basic humanity is not there. There are narcissists. We all tend to come across as empathetic, feeling human beings. And probably when we meet a narcissist who is so predominantly, trying to take charge of things and want things to go her way or his way, then as a man or woman, you suffer with such a person or a partner. So it happened to me also. I have also been through a similar experience, where my weaknesses, my bad times, my drawbacks were taken as weapons to hit me back. And so I totally understand where you are coming from. I have walked in your shoes and I understand you perfectly. So it's not about men and women at times. It's about the individual, what you carry inside you, what you are capable of giving to the other person, and still the other person does not have the gratitude to acknowledge or to value you. I mean, love is there. It is overhyped at times, but again, the respect, the dignity you give to one another, the acknowledgement, acknowledging the small things, not the big ones. You don't have to gift a woman diamond always. That is not what a woman looks for. Or it's not always that you have to please your man with expensive gifts and doing some out of the world things. I mean, small gestures, taking care of his small needs, that matters. The small things are always that we skip. We tend to overlook the small stuff. We always prioritize the bigger ones, the most important, significant ones, giving each other all the room for, trying to make each other feel big. I mean, giving each other the room to behave like a king or a queen. That's not always the case. No. You don't have to make your man feel like a king always. Just make him feel loved, feel cared for, feel understood. That's all matters. And same is the case with a woman. You don't have to buy her diamonds or do the lofty love deeds. Just be there for her. Be a shoulder for her to lean on.
A soft place to land. Yeah.
Yes. That is the balance we look for. That is the basic humanity we require in nurturing a fulfilling relationship, a wholesome, nourished relationship. We don't have to always fall back on the standards set by social media or any dating apps or any kind of trendsetters, those celebrities. We don't have to follow them always. Let us be normal. Let us be very meaningful to one another by doing things together, by sharing our lives together. I mean, these basic courtesies are not there nowadays.
No.
So because of lack of this basic courtesies, this basic manners that we need to show each other and to be there for one another, the whole game of love is taking a U-turn.
It is. I was talking to a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine at a gym, like a high-end sports club, and I went there. I'm going to it on Thursday to train at this gym. He's got a guest pass for me. So I went up there, drove up there to see what the place was like. Now, in the UK, there's an area called Essex. And in Essex, they are famous for having fake boobs, fake backsides, fake lips, and just all sorts of things. Lost a picture there. Yeah, quite a lot of things go on which are all about the external image, how someone looks. So they have teeth whitening, tans and that sort of thing. And I looked at some of the people going in and out, and I went, there's no way in this situation I'm going to win, I think, fundamentally. Now, Anasuya, I'd like to come back to the third experience, the man from Bangalore.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit.
It's in the matrimonial. It's in the matrimonial side.
Okay. What happened? So it says here he quickly suggested that I live with him, and then he shared photos of his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
How soon did he do that?
It is 2-3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you?
We said maybe he want to, to attract me. That's how the cycle. These are kind of narcissist.
Yeah.
Attitude, like, if a person is not getting attracted towards you, and he will share his soul, to make you jealous, to make you come pulling towards you.
Yes.
It's a very silly thing. So he was thinking that if he does those things, then I will be more pulled towards him. But this is opposite. A woman with 40s, if a girl is teenage, maybe it happens to that girl, 18 years. That's the teenage thing, right?
Maybe.
So sometimes I see, I'm not generalizing, some men, they're not matured in the age of 40s, the 40s also. Maybe. I can see that experience because he was not married, but he was still looking for some serious relations. He was telling, but why he was not married? That is the question, right? When you are in 40s, that's also a question. Because maybe he could not find a person, or maybe he is swiping a lot because he's looking for too many people of more into some perfectness, more into some kind of, some men, some even not in men, some women, but ratio is very less among women. Women get married and they get settled fast. But some men, they don't do it because they are looking for something, more. If you talk about our society, like they are looking for something, which will be more, more good, more better or more sensible, more for the family, which the person belongs to. It should be it match, equivocally. It should match how the family system is, how their culture is, how the thing. So they see a lot of things, but in a girl, if they want to make a girlfriend or something, they don't care. Just they look for the beauty, okay? They look for the beauty. They look for more, more something of temporary. They know that if you just have to attract. So 3-4 months, they will attract you. They're all lovey-dovey, whatever, love bombing, all these things.
Yeah.
When it comes to the serious, then they started getting changed. So this man he was in that kind. He was
Mhm.
looking for some bombing. He was looking for something. He was still not ready for the marriage, which I believe.
Right.
Because of that, he approached me in that way. And because I told him also, so what do you think? Do you think that I am an 18 years old teenage girl that I will get jealous of Shokina?
What did he say to that?
So he, instead of acknowledging her, instead of, maybe it is, I told him a little harshly, maybe that's also. I might be softer in tone, but still I thought like I should have said it, because he never get that kind of, sometimes you should have that experience in life. Someone says, should tell you. So maybe he never get this experience that a woman or some girl, talking like that. So that's why I thought like I should be very to the point. I should be very, so that honest to him, so that he can understand, he can learn something in life. So I told him, and he started confronting me. He said, so do you think you are a normal?
What did you answer to that?
He was like, no, you have a lot of, you are a depressive woman. You want to vent me. He was thinking that I'm trying to vent him now. Venting. Because I bore all the kind of past bad experiences. I'm trying to vent on him. That you were like, so this is how, because that's how the talk ended abruptly. The communication abruptly in, I think maybe 1 week or 10 days. So that's how so these are some kind of funny experiences I had. This is a funny experiences, but still you can understand, like, psychology of a person, like what actually the person is and how, what are the situations or circumstances he is in this country. So you can say mostly the mid-40s people, they are into the most, I can say this is the only sickness now. I think this is the sickness of a human being, that you are alone and you are lost in life. Or maybe this is some kind of, they carry some emotional baggage, because of the emotional void, they try to come forward and just, they are trying a lot of options, but there's something is still there. They are not maybe, they are not separated from the woman, or maybe they are just lying to you that they are divorced. These are the situations I came across. They are separated, but they will tell you lie that I am divorced. That's why I come up to this platform to look for a serious relationship, or looking for a perfect match. But in this life, there will not be any perfect match.
No, indeed.